Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, last session we learned about in React data binding, style binding, and class binding. How the features work for data binding, class binding, and style. So, style binding is dynamically applying inline styles. Class binding is dynamically applying CSS classes. What is the purpose is dynamically element can change its appearance according to the situation. Mostly validations, visually changing the themes, all these requires style and class binding. Next important, today we will see how event binding works. How the concept of event binding works in React. Actually, so you learned JavaScript events. So same concept here, but few different technical terms you need to know. Actually, what is event? So the first important, what is event? Generally, event is a message sent by sender to its subscriber in order to notify the change. Technically, how you define event? So event is a message sent by sender to its subscriber in order to notify the change. I will explain this point. Actually, follows a software design pattern called observer. It follows a software design pattern called observer. And very important, event uses a delegate mechanism. Delegate is actually function pointer mechanism. Function pointer. So when you learnt about events in JavaScript, these all are same, basic. That means technically, what is sender, what is subscriber? I will show you one small concept here. Suppose, see, when we are designing any page, so we have a function. Usually we have certain function here. So suppose there is a function called insert click. So, and we have a button. So button on click. So this insert click. This is how generally events are defined. In HTML, JavaScript, events are defined in this way. Actually, by seeing this, what generally everyone understands is, means there is a function called insert click, and this insert click function is called when user clicks on button. Am I right? That means there is a function called insert click, and you are calling that function when user clicks the insert button. No, that is not the concept. Actual concept is we are not calling this function, we are pointing towards that function. We are not calling the function, we are pointing towards that function. So event is not function calling, it is function pointer. That means actually we are pointing towards the function. For example, see, How this happens is, see, generally we are defining, suppose this is a HTML page, and in this HTML page we have a script, and this script is initially empty, and we have a button insert. On click we are writing insert click. Is there any function called insert click? There is no function called insert click. If there is no function by name insert click and we are calling that function, then it should show error. Am I right? There is no function called insert click and you are calling. If you are calling a function which is not there, it should show error. You see here in inspect, when I go to console, you can see in the console, there is no error. How it cannot be an error? There is no function insert click. So that means this is not calling function. Now see what happens when I click on insert button. Now it will try to point towards that function and that function is not available. Then it shows error. So event is not calling the function. Event is pointing towards the function. So it is not calling the function, pointing towards the function. This is generally, this is called subscriber. Subscriber is nothing but subscriber defines what actions to perform. Subscriber defines what are the actions to perform. And this is called sender. So sender tells when to perform. That means it has to do some insert click when user clicks the insert button. That means sender sends a notification to the subscriber. So the notification tells that somebody hit this insert button, and that notification will make that function execute and it returns the functionality. So event is not at all calling functions. Event is only pointing towards function. So that is the reason sender sends a message to its subscriber in order to notify the change. So here actually, so syntactically, function, some insert click. This is technically called as, subscriber. We call it as subscriber. And button on click is equal to insert click. This is called as a sender. We call this as sender. So what sender does is, sender sends a notification, and subscriber performs the functionality. Subscriber performs the functionality. So sender sends notification and subscriber will do that functionality. This is called as observer. Actually, observer is a communication pattern. It is a communication pattern. In software design patterns, I hope you people know, there are 23 design patterns. We call them as gang of 4. That means entire software development So depends on these 23 design patterns. As a software engineer, if you are working in any programming language and developing application, you have to develop by following certain design patterns. Hundreds of design patterns are there, but all design patterns are derived from three groups we call creational, structural, and behavioral. This observer comes under communication pattern. That means it defines how an object communicates with its class, communication pattern. So technically now here, senders send notification and subscriber will perform the functionality. But that is general event actually. We generally call this as event. So event is not calling the function. Event is pointing towards the function. Actually, in JavaScript, so here very important. So JavaScript events are browser events. JavaScript events are browser events. That means if anybody asked you like, so on click belongs to which element? On click belongs to which element? Events doesn't belong to elements. Events belong to browser. You can click image, you can click div, you can click span, you can click paragraph, you can click heading, anything you can click. It's not like click is for button. Events are not associated with elements. Events are associated with browser. All JavaScript events are what? Browser events. That means now the point comes in interviews, they ask, then how React can use those events? Because React is not using DOM. It is using which one? Virtual DOM. Then how it can use those events? So events belong to browser DOM. And that React is not using browser DOM, then how it will use its events? For that, actually, React uses a library called synthetic events. It uses a library called synthetic events. It uses a library called synthetic events. These synthetic events, actually synthetic events are mapped, they are mapped to browser events. That means what is the synthetic event? Synthetic event is on click, C uppercase. What is its browser event? Browser event is on click. That is browser event. That means this is synthetic events. And this is browser event. Synthetic events will map to browser events. So directly you cannot use a browser event in React. React uses all the events which are not browser events, which are what type of events? Synthetic events. So that means every event that you are using in React is not a browser event, but generally events belong to browser. But these synthetic events will map to same browser event. So every event in React is derived from synthetic events. It's a library. All the events are defined in that library. So React core library provides synthetic events to handle, right? Now, very important, synthetic events synthetic events, actually synthetic events are categorized into various groups based on their role and responsibility. According to their role and responsibility, synthetic events are categorized. Like we have so many events, like we have mouse events. Mouse events are like on, mouse over. We have like on, mouse out. We have like on, mouse down. We have like on, mouse up. We have like on, mouse move. These are all mouse events. We have keyboard events. Keyboard events like on key up. We have like on key down. We have like on key press. These are all keyboard events. We have button events. Button events like on click, on DBL click. So on context menu. That means single click, double click, right click. Context menu means right click. So these are called button events. We have important events like form events. Form events like on submit. We have like on reset. This comes under form events. We have technically clipboard events. Clipboard events like on cut, like on copy, like on paste. These are clipboard events. We have behavioral, that means element state events. Element state events. Element state events like on change, like on focus, like on blur. These are like on select. So we have like on check, change, so select, yeah, on select start. All these are element state events. So we have like touch events. Touch events are mostly used in mobile development. We have like on touch start. We have like on touch end. We have like on touch move, all these. These are different categories of events, These all events are used in general web development depending on different interactions. You need all of them depending on situation, requirements of your project. Some actions you want to perform when mouse is over. Some actions you want to perform when user touches his touch screen. Some actions we need when user is typing. Some actions when user right clicks. This all depends on these events. We have timer events. Generally, timer events like we have set time out. We have like clear time out. We have like set interval. We have like clear interval. All these comes under timer events. These are different types of events. So these all comes under events. These are all synthetic events, and remember, these synthetic events are same as it is available in browser. So in JavaScript also you have them, in React also you have them, but in React what you are using, they are not browser events. That is the reason in React actually you will use exactly how it have its definition. It is used exactly how it has its definition. For example, if you have seen in React, suppose we have a function. What is that function? We have handle, insert, click. That is a function. Now, how you are pointing this function button? Button we have on click. On click is equal to what you are doing, handle, insert, click. Am I right? You are writing like this. You return some. Now here you are not using a parenthesis. Have we used anywhere there? That means we are not calling function. Then what it is? We are not calling function. Then what we are doing? Pointing towards the function. To point a function, you need function name only. Right? In JavaScript also same happening. But in JavaScript, pointer is given with the same signature of function. JavaScript function pointer is function signature. But in React, the pointer is just name. Here, you are unknowingly using pointer mechanism. You don't know that you are using a pointer mechanism. If it is calling a function, then it should be parenthesis. Right? Why you are not using this? Because we know that it is not calling function, it is pointing towards the function. And pointing towards the function requires only this. Actually, this is generally called as, so on click, you have handle, insert, click. This entire statement is referred as event handler. It is called event handler. That means, remember, what is on click? On click is an event. On click, what it is pointing, that is event handler. If anybody asks what is the event, you should say on click. If anybody asks what is the handler, on click, insert, click. That is handler. Handler means which function it is pointing. Which function it is pointing. That is event handler. And remember here, events, the way of managing events in React, class component is different. Currently, we are related to which one? Function components. Currently, you are working in function components. So some behavioral changes are there when we are using events in class component. I will tell you what is that in class. Usually here in function, now we need to concentrate only on function components. That means events in function components will not have arguments. So that means actually event handler in function component will not have arguments. Actually in JavaScript, generally in JavaScript, what happens is every event handler can have arguments. And what are the arguments allowed? Actually, JavaScript, what's generally JavaScript event handler allows following arguments. What arguments it will allow? You know, it will allow default arguments, args. Default arguments are this and event. And it allows custom arguments. Custom arguments are our own arguments. You can pass any. This custom argument can be a string, can be a boolean, can be a array, can be an object, can be any type. You can send anything as an argument. Generally in JavaScript, event have two arguments, default arguments and custom. What is the default arguments? We have this and event. What this is used for? Actually, this sends information about current object related information, and event sends information about current event. This will send information about current object, and event will send information about current event. For example, in JavaScript, see, we have two default arguments. One is this, another one is a event. Now what this can do, it can send information about current object. Current object means button. Suppose button is having an ID, btn insert. Button is having a name, that is insert. And you want to send these details to a function. Function, what is it? Insert click. I want to collect those two parameters. Then one is for object, another is for event. What this OBJ can do, it can access object details. Object details like button ID, button name, button class, everything. That means document.write obj.id. That means it will return the ID. So for example, here I am giving something like ID is equal to, so obj.id. Suppose I want name is equal to, so obj.name, like this. Now you can see here, so it is going to send that information, ID and name. That means on click, it will send that information. What E will send? E will send event details. Event details like where they clicked. That means X position, Y position, how they clicked. With the left button, right button, everything about click you can get by using what? Event. That means I can get here. So in the next line, suppose we have X position. X position. How to get X position? Just we have to use E dot client X. Client X. This will get the X position. You can see it gets X position. I'm clicking somewhere left side here. Okay. Then it will say 9. I will click somewhere right side here. It says 56. It can get the position where we clicked also. That is done by using which one? Default. Along with default arguments, you can have your own arguments. You can have only this, you can have only event, you can have both, or you can have only your own argument. Your own argument means you can have a button. Suppose I given an object. Object means price. Price is some price. I said stock. Stock is some true, like this. Now, if you want, you can collect this. That means here I am accessing, what is it? Product. And you can define that here I am giving. So price is equal to what? Product dot price. That means you can send your custom details also there. It will get that and show. So much is there about JavaScript event. This all you will learn in general JavaScript. What is event? What is event argument? What are default arguments? What are custom arguments? Why we need them? Where we need them? How we need them? That's all JavaScript teaches you about event. But unfortunately, React synthetic event will not allow arguments. Will not allow arguments. So generally, if it will not allow arguments, then what happens? Then how do we access? Will not allow arguments because it is just pointer. No? There is no place for arguments. Then how we access that? That means will not allow arguments in which component? Functional component. in functional component. But how to access that? That means React synthetic event can provide a reference which can access both object and event details. That means in React, we can create a synthetic event reference which can access both object related details as well as event. That means how do we do in React? In React, we do like this. We have a function. What is it? Handle insert click. On that, we will just put a synthetic event. Just I am writing synthetic event. This is an synthetic event argument. This is a reference for which event? Synthetic event. This synthetic event can access all details. That means synthetic event can access all event details. That means it can access dot event args. It can access event args. If you want to access object properties, then synthetic event have a property called target. We know already this. This target will provide object properties. Understood? Earlier in JavaScript, for object properties, we use this. For event arguments, we use event. But here only one for both. That means it can access event arguments and it can access object properties. Both it can access. That means now what you have button we have on click, what it is? Handle insert click. On a handle insert click, and we have insert. Now this button related all details you can access. The event related all details you can access. One argument is enough to access all. That means we can manage everything through that argument. For example, see now here. Now we are defining. Let's go to the React now. So I will add a component here in the React project. So I will add a folder, event demo. Okay. So I will add a new file, event demo .component.js. So we will create export function and event demo component. So in event demo component, so just we will return a simple presentation and class container fluid. Okay. And here we kept a heading, some events, and we just keep a button. So this button have insert. Okay. This button is having an ID. So that is btn insert. Button is having a class name. Class name is btn primary, like this. Now I want to access the details. I will keep it in the startup. That is event demo component. Okay. Now you can see the event demo component is there. We are accessing that here. It is running. Yeah, it is compiling. Okay. Okay, now here we on insert click, we need to get the information about button and information about event, same like JavaScript. Then what we do? So here we need to configure a function. So we are writing a function and the function is insert click. We can just give insert click. Now this function is having an argument synthetic event. Synthetic event is the argument. Now through this synthetic event, I can access all the information about it. That means now on click. So we are pointing towards which one? Insert click. And here no arguments. So you can see by default it is saying synthetic event. But we don't need to pass any arguments. So automatically it is ready to accept. Now what we need to do, just I am using document.write. You can display anywhere. I'm just using document.write. I want button ID. How do we access the button ID? By using synthetic event have a target. Target can access object related details like ID. So suppose I want the button ID. Okay. So in the next line, I want the class name. So then how do we access synthetic event dot target dot class name? We can access. Suppose I want to get the position where they clicked the button, then X position. Then this time we can use synthetic event, no target, directly client X. That means this is event related information, not only client X. We can have so many event arguments like suppose. So I will define here, suppose is a control key, CTRL key. I want to know whether they used a control key or not. Then we use synthetic event dot CTRL key. It will return whether they used a control key while clicking. Suppose you see in many environments you can observe, suppose there is a div http://www.amazon.in, like this I given. Now when you define like this, observe carefully. When I move the mouse onto it, it says control plus click, you can open this link. I thought that click means only click, but no, it is where you clicked, how you clicked, everything can be handled. Whether you used a control key while clicking, whether you used a alt key while clicking, because for every functionality, your keys are not enough. You know that, right? How many keys are present on keyboard? So a enhanced keyboard means 112 keys minimum. Standard keyboard is 110. Enhanced keyboard 112 keys will be there. Minimum 112 keys, starting with 112 keys. Multimedia keyboards will be different, right? If you have F1 to F12 on your keyboard, then 112 keys will be there. If you have only F1 to F10, then that is 100 keys will be there, depending on keyboard type actually. So technically, several functionalities we have to manage where keys are not enough. We need a combination. Like, what is the purpose of Alt, Control, Shift? Do you know they are called as Control, Alt, Shift? They are called as modifier keys. We call them as modifier keys because they modify the function of a key. What Shift key will do? It will modify lowercase to uppercase. Alt key, control key, shift key. These are called modifier keys. You have arrow keys, you have modifier keys, you have function keys. So the point is how you will design in such a way that when they clicked with control, it will do one work. Directly clicked, it will do another work. So that we can do by using these kind of event arguments only. For that, we should know whether they clicked a control key or not. I will show you. We can handle a different functionality. Suppose you see now, when I click on this, so we see the event. I click on this insert button. When I click on insert button, it should get all details. And in the details, same. In the details, btn insert, these are the classes, this is exposition, control key is not used. Suppose I will press control key and click it now. Then it will show that control is true. It will show that control is used. These are very important to handle various interactions, right? So React development is not just like some complex coding. It is all about complex presentation. And we have to present in the modern generation, we have to present for touch devices. Then too complicated. We can't depend on click anymore. We have to use touch events very much. So these all are very important to understand. That means how we can manage the event. Actually, JavaScript event handler is different and a synthetic event handler is different. And here we have to just use only one option. What is it? Synthetic event. This synthetic event can access event related details. It can access object related details. This is a simple example actually. Means event demo dot component dot js. Just this is to understand the arguments actually. There is a lot of thing now. This is how event arguments are defined. How we can configure the event arguments, right? So when we are using JavaScript, we pass arguments directly in the method. But here we just define a single parameter. Remember, this is a formal parameter. You can give any name. That is formal parameter. You can give any name. I just given synthetic event name to tell that it is derived from that. Because functions are formal parameters now. This can be any name, X, Y, Z. Whatever you defined, it refers to synthetic event. That means whatever the parameter you define, it refers to synthetic event. That is defining synthetic event, right? So this is basically how it works, right? That means I give, suppose X, then all same, it will be X dot target, it will be X dot class name, it will be X dot client X, it will be X dot control key, that's it. Those are formal parameters. Formal parameters can work in any way. Click, it is there. That is a formal parameter. I written synthetic event just to make you understand that it is derived from that class, right? So formal names you can give anything, but remember the parameter that you define, it refers to object as well as event. The parameter you configured, it refers to object as well as event. For example, suppose now see here on insert click here, I am calling here now a function. Into that I am passing an object. This is name and this is TV and this is price. This is price and configure the price. Now I am accessing that product here. This is custom parameter. That means name, it will come from product dot what name. And in the next line, we have price and it will come from, what is it? Product dot price. We are defining like this. That means now you can see here, it is able to access that. I'm just clicking that button here. So you can see I'm accessing the button. You can see here when I refresh this, by default, it is having this argument. There is no button here. There is no button click here. That means directly what arguments you are passing, it is printing it. It is printing those arguments. Directly it is printing those arguments. Now observe carefully. Suppose I return this as alert. I'm using alert. So alert, right? And you see here, so on alert, it will display. It is showing that alert. That means no screen presentation of button. There is no button directly output. And when I click on this button, now you see the alert is not coming. It's not working. That means automatically whatever the arguments you pass in the method, so in the declaration itself, those will fire up. Those will fire up. Automatically they will fire up. So that is the reason we discussed that parameters are not allowed, right? Why parameters are not allowed? If you pass any parameter, then what will happen? Only that parameter will execute and your output will not be rendered. So that is very important. So never pass any parameters like this. Any parameters like this. So it should be only function pointer. Understood? It should be only function pointer pointing towards the function. Now, if it is pointing towards the function, how to pass different types of data here? That you will see. How do we pass different types of data? For that, what we do, we create one local reference. In that we store the data. Through object properties we send. That is what I showed you in shopping cart page. We will implement that functionality. In shopping cart page, we have to know which one they clicked. For example, this you can handle by using this technique. Suppose C. Means I will show you the process here. Shopping cart example is related to this concept only. Now, how you will send your details. For example, we have configured constant. So we have some products and this is set products. And here we have, so use state that is imported and it is an array of objects. So we have name, we will give ID 1 and we have name TV. And we have another product ID 2 and we have name. So we have name as suppose some price, some mobile. Like this, we have some data. Now what we need to do is we need to access and display. Currently, we are not setting anything, just we are storing some products and we are accessing. So a setter is not required, just storing. I will just give here. So I'll just give here products. Okay. And we will create a div. In this, we will create a iterator products dot map. We read every product. For every product, I will put a button called add to cart. When we put the button add to cart for everyone, so here I will put a span. So class BI cart for something. And here what should happen is the product name should be displayed here, then cart. Okay. I will put here a div. In that div, I will put the button. So this is the button. Above, I will put a paragraph. There I will give the product title. Product dot what name. Now you can see this is generated for every product and displayed. Now when user clicks add to cart, this must be added. this add to cart, this mobile must be added. How they know, how we know which one they click? Because here how many buttons are created? Actually, only one button is created. But how many times it is rendered? For every product it is rendered. So you are not creating two buttons, you are creating only one button and repeating this button for every product. Then how a product knows which product they click? For that, what technique we have to do here is, that means now I need to write a function. The function is add click. Add click. On add click, I need to collect the information about which product they click. Which product they clicked. Then what we do? So we have to write this button on click. So on click. So what is that on click? It should point towards add click. And how we can send about this product to this add click? We can't pass parameter now. Then how we can send information? We can do simple. For this button, we can give an ID. This button ID, we will pass the product dot ID. That means every product ID is attached to button. Now, what is the concept here? When user clicks this button, we can send this ID. We can collect that ID. So how we can collect? By using event argument. That is synthetic event argument. So here we will just use an alert e dot what? Target dot ID. That means now it can identify which button they clicked. This is 1 and this is 2. This is very important. That means we can identify which button they click. This is 1 and this is 2. Based on that, we have to define the interactions. That we will see. We will put in one example. That means how we can send information about current record so that it can handle that record. It can manage that record. That we can do by using this technique actually. Later, we will see another concept also. That means first you need to understand how to pass the arguments, how to collect the arguments. We are passing the argument and collecting. Now tell me how to find this product and display. That ID related product detail must display. Which one they click? And obviously what you do, you use, so products, you know, these products have a find method. So by using find method, we will use, so we will read every product and we will return product dot ID is matching with e dot target dot ID. That means it is going to return the product which is matching with that ID. So this, suppose I kept in a result. That means I kept in a result. And that result I need to print document dot write. What is that result? Result dot name. In the next line, I am printing what it is, result dot ID. I'm just printing those details. That means when user clicks on that, the details will come. When user clicks on this, that detail will come. Right? This is how we send information about any specific. We collect and we search and we return about those details. That means this is generally the logic behind how we can find, search and handle. Right? So this is one simple concept I will just give you. Now I will give you one simple point to try. You try that. So this is event demo. Event demo component.js. Okay. I will give you a simple try for that. You try. Actually, suppose we have products. Now here I am designing a table. So table, so class name table and table hover. And here we have T head, table header, TR, TH. So product ID, and we have TH name. Now I given T body. So let's repeat products dot map every product. For every product, let's create a row. And this row is having a key. Key is what? Product ID. And here we have first cell. In this, we will display product ID. And in the second cell, so we will display the product name. Product name. And in the third cell, I'm giving a button. And we have a span. So class BI trash. So fill, okay. And here we have a button. So class name BTN and BTN danger. And here, this is the output of that what we designed. Now I want you to implement this delete. But easy things I am doing, hard work I am giving to you. Yeah? That is what a learner should do. Right? That means when user clicks this button, that should be deleted. Now here you need to understand first how to find this record, which one they clicked. Second, how you will remove this from an array. How you will remove this from an array? Data is coming from array. How you will remove from an array? Array have a method called splice. Am I right? Array have pop, array have shift, and array have splice for removing. Right? That means array splice can remove at any place. Pop will remove only last. Right? Splice can remove anything. Now, first thing, you need to get this product ID. Second, you need to get its index number. That means find the product, get its index number, and splice by using the index. And if you can do that, that means it is deleted, then it will display only the records which are available. This kind of functionality is very important. And later we will do some more complex things actually. For example, you see here, this is a TV. When user clicks another button, suppose I'm adding one more button here, suppose button. So this is span and we have class name BI and BI pen. And we have class name as BTN and BTN danger. So BTN warning. Okay. Now when user clicks on this button, so we will give some margin S2. Okay. Some gap. Now when user clicks this button, here a text box should come. And after text box comes, this button should change to save. How you will change the button? Symbol. That is what you learned, class binding. What class? Because that symbol comes through a class. Am I right? What is the class for that symbol? The class for that symbol is BI pen. Now what should happen when user clicks the button and it opens edit mode? It should change its class to save. Save means what? For example, there is a floppy. Floppy, yeah? So not floppy, like save is there, I think. BI save, and it should show like this. Save button will be different. We can search for that. It should display like that. That means now technically how you will manage these all functionalities by using event handler, event arguments. Event handler and event arguments will play the key role in this, right? Now to implement that, you need to learn these events. You need to learn all these events. Then you can handle that functionality. I will explain that. I will show you that example. Meanwhile, if you can try, that's very good, right? But I will show you that we will learn under which one button events. Button events. But what are the events, various others available? We have mouse events, keyboard events, and all. One by one, we will see these events, how to use them. That means first we will see how we can start with what? Mouse events. What are the mouse events and how do we work with them? That we'll see in next session, right? Today we can stop this here, right? And next session, we will start working on events with examples now. For every event, we will see some examples. Then that is perfect React presentations. That means now finally you can do all the interactions, editing, inserting, deleting with these kind of examples only. That we will see now, how to handle the events. That we will see in the next session, okay? And next session will be again on 19. Yesterday already I told you, our next session will be on 19, okay?